Welcome back. I'm Jill with the carefreekitchen.com, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my recipe for rustic cheddar bread. This recipe is super easy to make, and I'll show you all kinds of tips and tricks so that it will turn out great every time you make it. Okay, so to get started, let me show you my ingredients. All right, so we have a little bit of milk, and this needs to be warm. We're also going to add a little bit of warm water, which should be about 110 degrees. We've got some sugar to help activate the yeast, and then we've got some salt. This is the cheddar cheese I'm using. You can use a little bit more finely shredded cheddar cheese. This is what I had on hand, and either one's gonna work great. We're gonna add a couple eggs to make it really soft, and then of course my all-purpose flour. Also, we want to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. All right, so I'm gonna be making this in my KitchenAid mixer today, but you can make this by hand if you want. It'll just take a little bit more elbow grease. Okay, I need another 1.5 cups of water, and the water that you use should be just a little bit warmer than your wrist. So if you wanna get technical, it's about 110 degrees, but if it's not too hot for your wrist, then it'll be fine for your yeast. If it's too hot, then it'll kill your yeast, so 110 degrees. Okay, so I just filled it up to about the 2.5 cup mark. So we're gonna add that to our mixer. And then we have about a tablespoon of yeast. We'll just add that in. And then a tablespoon of sugar. Okay, so usually you'll wait a couple minutes to let your yeast bloom is what it's called, but I know my yeast is good because I've been using it a lot lately, and it's a brand new package, so I'm not worried about that. All right, and then to this we're also going to add 2 eggs. Okay, and then I'm going to add about 3 cups flour. So I like to add just like half the flour and really get the yeast working and knead it for a couple of minutes without adding all the flour. All right, I'll just put this up. And I should have my bread hook on here, but I don't. Anyways, it's fine, the paddle will work too. All right, and as you can see, it's just breaking up that egg, mixing everything together. So you know the yeast is working when your dough starts to be kind of stringy. Okay, now I'm gonna add another cup or so of flour. Slow that down just a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, the dough is pretty stringy, and that is perfect. That's completely normal, and that's when you know that your yeast is working. So I'm gonna add 6 to 6.5 cups of flour. And we're gonna add flour until the dough just starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl there when it's mixing. All right, it's getting a little bit closer, but as you can tell, it's not quite pulling away from the sides of the bowl. Okay, now that I have enough flour in there, I'm going to add my cheddar cheese, and we're just going to add 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, and that will just go ahead and mix in as it's kneading. So about a couple more minutes here. And if you need to kind of take it off of the dough hook, or in this case the paddle, to kind of pick up some more of that cheese, that is fine too. Just kind of turn that around. All right, and now that I have my dough all ready, I'm just gonna peel it off of the hook here. And then I'm gonna take it out of the bowl and just put it into a nice round ball. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of avocado oil in the bottom of the bowl there. And we're just gonna let this rise with a towel over it to keep it warm for about 20 to 30 minutes or until double. All right, so my cheddar bread has had some time to rise, And my next step, and I don't think I'm gonna need any flour here because I've got the oil all over the bread. So I'm just gonna cut this in half. And you can just give this a quick little knead if you want to be sure all that cheese is mixed up. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this into a ball, and I like to just kind of fold it over itself here. And then I kind of pinch the bottom here. There we go, so it's just like a nice round ball. And then I'm just gonna put it here on my baking sheet, and you can fit 2 loaves on 1 baking sheet. So now I'll just go ahead and do this for the other one too. Just give this a nice little knead and then put it into a round ball like this and tuck the bottom in there, just like that. It makes a nice round loaf. Now I'm going to put it right on my pan, and I just have a parchment lined baking sheet here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is I have just an egg here, and I'm going to crack my egg. There we go. And add about a tablespoon of water. Okay, I'll just use a little fork here. Mix this up. And if you wanted the bread to stay really light, you would just do the egg white. But since this is cheddar bread, I'm fine with it being a little bit darker. And now I'm just gonna take a knife, and I wanna just make some score marks. Just like this. I just feel like this is so pretty on top of the bread. There we go. And then as it rises, it will spread those apart just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my egg wash, and I want to do a quick wash over all of this and get the entire loaf of bread down on the sides and in those cracks. And this makes just like a really pretty coloring on the bread. Okay, now we're gonna put this in a warm spot and just let it rise for probably another 20 or 30 minutes. All right, so my bread is just about done. Rising. It doesn't need to rise huge, just a little bit. And then we're gonna bake it for 35 to 40 minutes. All right, here is my rustic cheddar bread. It's crunchy on the outside. It's warm and soft and pillowy on the inside. This cheddar bread is super fun to make and serve alongside a yummy soup or a salad, or to have as a side dish to just about any meal. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode at the Carefree Kitchen, and let me know how your cheddar bread turns out, if you love it just as much as we do. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.